Now we're ready to attach the back slats to our seat frame. What we need to do is we need to find the center of the lower rear cross piece. We also need to find the center of the upper rear cross piece. So to find the center of the lower rear cross piece, the lower rear cross piece was supposed to be 22 inches long. So half of 22 is 11. Now we all know that maybe yours is a little longer, a little shorter. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark 11. So what I'm doing is I'm measuring from the right side out. I'm measuring to 11. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the left side, and I'm going to measure my 11. And you can see the two marks are not right on top of each other, so my board might be a little shorter than 22. So now what I do though is I know that halfway in between these two marks, that is the center of the lower rear cross piece. Now, ready for the upper rear cross piece. So the distance between the inside and inside of the two arms was supposed to be 20.5. So if we need to find the center of the upper rear cross arm, half of 20.5 would be 10.25. So again, I'm measuring from the right side. I'm measuring over 10.25. Now I'm going to measure from the left side, and I'm going to measure over 10.25. Again, the marks are not quite right on top of each other, so in between both of them, that would be right there. That would be my center. Now what we need to do is we need to lay out where the center back slat is going to be. So we know the center back slat is 3.5 inches wide. So half of 3.5 is 1 3/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure over 1 3/4 to the right, and I'm going to measure over 1 3/4 to the left. I find using a ruler at this point is probably the easiest thing to do, and you're going to find that I can't slide it over to get to the 0 because it's kind of hitting here. So I don't know, I'll just start right here at 4. Right? I just need to go over 1 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to go over 1 inch, then I'm going to go over 3/4 of an inch. It's right there. All right. So here I am. I'm going to go over the 1 and then over to 3/4. And I put my marks right there. So this is where the center slat is going to be. We're going to do the same thing down at the bottom. This time you can see I can put my ruler right there at 0. I can line up the end of the ruler with my mark. So I'm going to measure over 1 and then 3/4 of an inch. So from here over is 1 3/4 of an inch. Now what I'll do is I'll set up here at my 1 3/4 inch mark, and I'll just go ahead and I'll put a mark right there at the end. So this distance is 3.5. It's exactly in the middle of the center of the lower rear cross piece. So now we can go ahead and we can attach the center slat. So what I've got is I've got the center slat in the correct position. I've got a quick clamp holding it in place. All right, again, anytime we're doing assembly work, right, we're going to be patient and precision. We'll go ahead and we'll drive one screw in. So you got to keep in mind, you got to be this screw, right? This screw has to go through the middle of this board. So if you have a slight angle up or a slight angle down, this screw is going to want to break out the top or the bottom. So you just got to be careful. Okay, the bottom is attached with 2 screws. It's nice and flush along the bottom. Now what we need to do is we need to align the top. So now we're ready to attach the center slat to the upper rear cross piece. And what we want to do is we want to make sure again that this is in the proper location. So I know I have it centered on my upper rear cross piece because I can see my mark here and there's a mark on the other side. I also want to make sure that it's at the proper height. So in the back here we just have another fixture for you, and so this is kind of holding up the back and shows you our proper height. And once you get this into position, you're going to use a quick clamp to hold that in place. And now the most important thing, what we need to do is we need again to drill some clearance holes here. What we're going to do is we're just going to kind of eye these up. Okay, we want to be about 3/4 of an inch in from the edge, so I'm talking about in here someplace. And what we want to do is we want to drill in straight in to this board. Okay, so this is going to be kind of weird because we're not going to drill perpendicular to this board. We're going to drill, I'm going to say, parallel to the top of the upper rear cross piece. So this is going to require some looking and estimating, and I'm thinking that's where I want to drill my hole. Now because we're drilling at an angle, the drill is definitely going to want to walk on us. So I might do something like this. After I mark where my hole is going to be, I'm going to go ahead, use the awl just to put a little dimple there. And now I'm ready to go ahead and drill. So when we're drilling, first of all, if we just hold it like this, the battery, the bottom of the drill is going to hit the slat, so we have to kind of hold it on an angle like this, or rotate it a little bit. And so the drill, it has to be parallel to the top of this. And when we drill, we're only going through the center slat. I don't want to drill in to the upper rear cross piece, right? This is just a clearance hole. So you'll feel it. You'll feel it in the upper rear cross piece when you actually break through. So we can go ahead and we can put a screw in there. So once you have one screw in holding it in place, go ahead and mark out the location of the next hole. So like I said, I came in about 3/4 of an inch, and what we want to do is we want to be halfway, we want to be centered on this board. Mark the location, use the awl, and then go ahead, drill the hole, and screw it together.